by Gentle Waste for Our Planet, Greening Sacred Spaces, and Eco Internships. We'll have an intermission around 11-ish, and then an open discussion after that. So to start us off, I and many of us are situated in Ottawa and live and work on traditional unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people. The Algonquin people have inhabited and cared for these lands for generations before us. We take this time to show our gratitude and respect to the original Indigenous caretakers of the land and to the land itself for all that it provides us, the trees that give us shade and provide shelter, the water that flows through us, the food that sustains us, and the paths that connect us. So with that done, we'll popcorn style introduce everyone, and if you could tell us why you got into the nonprofit sector. I got into it because it is a very good and interesting way to provide actual value and actual impact to the people around us compared to the for-profit sector, especially in the environmental sector. So Hannah, why don't you go next?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Hannah Rockburn, and I'm the operations manager at Eco Internships. And I got into the sector as I've always loved working with the environment, and I went to school for earth sciences and physical geography. So I had a passion for hydrology and soils. And then I was fortunate enough to actually be part of the internship program through Sustainable Eastern Ontario and the Capacity Building Institute about 3 years ago now. And I've just kind of fell in love with the small shop sector, and I've been fortunate enough to stay on and kind of work with the network. So that's where I'm coming from. And I will pass it to Anna.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Shadrova, and I'm also one of the interns with Sustainable Eastern Ontario. I primarily work on GIS projects. I got into the field because it aligns with my educational background and also my values, I guess. Thank you, and I'll pass it on to Owen.
Hello, morning, everyone. Sorry. Yeah, I'm Owen Wadey. I'm an energy and sustainability coordinator with the Ottawa Energy Collective, which is a mouthful. And I got into the nonprofit sector because I was working in the for-profit sector and it made me sad. And I feel like now I'm making more of a difference, which I enjoy. And I'll pass over to Duncan.
Thank you. I'm really here more as an observer than a participant. I mean, I'm part of Waste Watch Ottawa. We're definitely nonprofit. In fact, we're obviously an advocacy organization involved in the city's solid waste master plan and concerned about environment generally. We're part of the People's Official Plan Collective. So I'm just interested to know all the good and useful things all you folks are up to. So that's really why I'm here. So thank you for the opportunity.
I can jump in here. My name's Miriam Watts. I'm a Green Service Coordinator for Eco Internships, and I got into the nonprofit sector through the internship program that Eco Internships runs, and it was something that I wanted to. I took environmental studies in my undergrad, and I really wanted to make sure I was doing work that was working with people in the industry and very hands-on. I'll pass to Charlie.
Hi, thank you. I'm Charlie. I'm with Greening Sacred Spaces as well as Eco Internships. And I got into the nonprofit sector, environmental nonprofit sector, sort of by accident. I got in sort of through faith community work and through my interest in sort of community work, and then saw the amazing work that many faith communities were doing to reduce the harms done the environment. So that really inspired me to get into it. Who hasn't gone? Aida, have you gone yet?
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here and to see you all. I'm the founder and executive director of Gentle Waste for Our Planet. I made a decision 2 years ago to found this organization and to do everything I could for the next 10 years until 2030 to help with mitigating climate change. I believe this is the biggest issue we're facing today as a humanity, and I'm going to do my little part to help. And I'm happy. Every day I work full time. I'm donating my time, and I'm delighted about it. Thank you.
I can go next. My name is Jessica Schumacher. I'm the Eco-Executive Director of Sustainable Eastern Ontario, Ottawa Eco Talent Network, Sea Change Canada, and Eco-Executive Director itself. I wear many, many hats. I got involved in the environmental sector from my passion for scuba diving. Diving in different areas of the world, I saw a lot of different changing ecosystems, a lot of pollution obviously in the water. So from that, it kind of made me want to come into the environmental sector and have an impact on, as Aida said, I believe it's also one of the biggest issues that we're currently facing. So that's a little bit about me. Am I the last one to go?
Yes.
Okay, so I will segue into a little presentation about what the NCNN is. Just need to move some things around from Zoom. Okay, so welcome everyone. This is the first NGO Roundtable for this year, 2023. So that's super exciting. As Mac mentioned, he kind of discussed a bit about the agenda, so I'll skip through that. So what is the NCNN? So for what the National Capital Environmental is, it is a network of environmental groups, big and small, helping to support each other and build connections while also working to enhance collaboration among all environmental groups in the region. So this is a project of Sustainable Eastern Ontario, whose forming pillars are connecting, collaborating, capacity building, and celebrating. For connecting, we work to connect sustainability groups across the region together and foster partnerships on a variety of different types of projects and events. Here you can see eco-internships, some intern programs, myself here giving a presentation at our 10th anniversary AGM. For collaborating, we have a few different areas that we do this. So we have a shared office space that houses environmental organization projects across the region. So we have the Apartment Sustainability Office, and then we also have a new office space shared with Capacity Sustainable Solutions. So Sustainable Capacity Solutions is a one-stop shop for Canadian environmental organizations, capacity building needs. So they've made up a network of social enterprises delivering important services across a wide range of areas. And then we also collaborate with Ottawa Energy Collective. So Ottawa Energy Collective is a community-led project working to achieve net zero emissions from all residential buildings in Ottawa by 2050. For capacity building, Green Books is a full bookkeeping and social enterprise that supports the sustainability sector. We have Eco-Executive Director, which is a shared service of administration and executive functions. And then the Capacity Building Institute, which is a training organization that provides capacity building training in 6 core areas. And then we have Eco-Internships, who we will actually hear from today, who helps small environmental organizations across wage subsidy programs. For celebrating, we have Sustainability Star Awards every year. So this past year, for 2022, the Sustainability Star Awards winners were Sustainable Youth Canada, Green Sacred Spaces, Sustainable North Grenville, Sustainable Capacity Foundation, and then Reform Design and Fabrication. For some upcoming events and updates, the Capacity Building Institute will have its first webinar for this year, starting or for understanding grant process and from grant makers' perspective. So that's going to be February 6th from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then Eco-Internships application portal is currently open for the 2023 interns and employers. And I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about that from Hannah later on. And then another upcoming event, the Ottawa Eco Talent Network is teaming up with Sustainable Eastern Ontario. We'll be hosting an advisor workshop. So that's going to be February 24th, and that's Just to kind of talk about OET and what they do, what their advisors are. We're going to be having some of their current advisors come in and talk about their experience as being an advisor with the Ottawa Eco Talent Network. And then we're also hoping to pull in some seniors and have them participate and hopefully grow our advisor network for that organization, having more of a senior presence. And then this is kind of everyone that Sustainable Eastern Ontario is kind of working around. So with that said, I'll stop presenting and I'll hand it back over to Mac.
So yeah, we'll get started with the presentations now. Our first presenter today is Ida Wara from Gentle Ways for Our Planet. Ida is the founder of Gentle Ways for Our Planet. Gentle Ways' mission is to inspire individuals to leave a gentler footprint by leading sustainable lifestyle and reducing their carbon footprint. Gentle Ways supports greater diversity in the conversation and action on climate change and works with various cultural communities in Ottawa. By profession, Ida is a psychologist with a PhD in psychology, and before devoting her time to Gentle Ways, she was an executive at Environment and Climate Change Canada and a part-time university professor. Ida, take it away.
Can I share my presentation?
You should be able to, yes.
Okay. Do you see it?
We do not.
Okay. And now?
Yep, yeah, it's good.
Okay. So the title of the project was Ottawans for the Green Bin, and our purpose is to support greater participation in the green bin in multi-unit residential buildings in Ottawa. Ultimately, we want to support the city of Ottawa reach its goal, which is zero organic waste and irregular trash. And we're doing this progressively. We partnered formally with PERC and sort of informally with 5 other organizations, including cafes, OCEAN, Eco West Enders. And our vision when we got together was to create a big wave of change in Ottawa by mobilizing our networks at the same time. Again, the purpose, as I said, was to support individuals champion the green bin program in their buildings. What did we do? We focused on 2 projects. In the first one, we developed a complete toolkit with all communication products that a champion would need to promote the green bin in their buildings. That was one project. Project 2, and in the second project, I worked mainly with NASHA, with OBEC. Its purpose was to work with elementary school children and their teachers. We call it Decorate the Bin project. We sent them 2 bins from the city of Ottawa, green bins, and gave them instructions, some information on the green bin program. And the work involved decorating the bin, taking pictures of it, learning about the green bin program. And our initial purpose was to decorate as many bins as possible and create some kind of exhibit. I'll tell you later on what happened, but these were the 2 main projects. So what did we do? What was accomplished? The toolkit for the green bin was, I said, developed and promoted widely on social media, not just Gentle Ways social media, but also on cafes. OCEAN also promoted it at various community events in the South End. We piloted the package in, I said here in one building, but so far we did it in 2 buildings in Ottawa. Other individuals from those collective have been preparing the terrain in their buildings to pilot the toolkit. It was very, very well received by the City of Ottawa manager. I deal with one of the project managers in the environmental programs. Her name is Lindsay Webley. She's been providing feedback, and we've been providing also input on the program based on our observations. They've been very, very, very pleased with the work we've been doing. The Decorate the Bin program, or rather projects, we initially contacted 4 elementary schools. 1 responded and expressed interest in receiving the bin, and they decorated it with grade 5 and 6. The other 3 schools did not respond. Then I contacted the Ottawa School of Art, and we got a very positive response there. They have their summer camps with children where they have elementary school children go and learn how to paint, and 2 of those camps, they ran those camps throughout the summer. 2 of those camps, 2 teachers adopted the Decorate the Bin project, and they decorated 2 of those bins. They took pictures, and I used them to create posts on social media and sent them to the City of Ottawa as well. We also promoted the Green Bin program and the brochure. Just the brochure is one of the elements of the kit. The kit has everything you need, like how to contact the board of directors, how you can engage with the superintendent, what you say when you hold a kiosk in the building. So, and the brochure on the green bin, what goes in it, what doesn't, how odor can be controlled, all the information on the green bin program. That was promoted at a tree planting event we held in September, and that created a lot of interest from the participants. What we learned from so far, that working together is, particularly in our sector, is fun and very productive. The collective participated mainly in providing feedback on the kit. Every organization provided some helpful input. Cafes, for example, they even helped with the editing at the end. So it was very collaborative work. I enjoyed it. The recruitment process hasn't been as easy. It's been challenging. As I said, we tested the kit and we held kiosks in 2 buildings, but other individuals from the collective have been trying to recruit champions to champion the green bin in their buildings. Someone is talking with their aunt, another person is talking with their property manager who's been evasive. Another person is talking with their mother in the Alta Vista area. So a lot of talking and preparatory work, but yeah, we're still working on it. The toolkit, yes, this is what we gathered from one building, and this is a building where I championed the green bin, where I live. We had the program already, but it wasn't optimal. The volume was not that huge. We collected probably one green bin, those huge ones, but after we held the kiosk in August, around September, October, the volume has almost doubled. In those kiosks, we interacted with the residents. Many stopped, asked questions. Many had basic questions like, how do you use it? Or where is the green bin? We don't know. We're new in the building. We don't know where it is. So we showed them. It was, to me, an eye-opener. It was extremely informative. And I shared my insights with Lindsay. I told her, this, championing the green bin is the way to go. Brochures and ads alone are helpful, but not helpful enough. You need that interaction, those conversations to get people on board. And the city was very, very collaborative. They sent us quickly. We phoned them and they sent me quickly a big box of those small bins, which we handed out freely. They cost around $20 with taxes if you want to buy them. They sent us brochures and they were very happy and excited and supportive. So yeah, holding the kiosk, it was very, very productive, very effective way of engaging with the residents and getting them to use the green bin. So at least in one building, we doubled the volume in less than 2 months. No, in 2 or 3 months. So next steps, I noticed that all the preparatory work we did was necessary and helpful. I was hoping to create that big wave by, having everyone get at least one champion in several buildings in Ottawa. We didn't do that. We didn't achieve this, but we are still working on it. And this is taken, a bit longer than what I had imagined, but it's solid and steady, and people are interested. We want to pursue the work in the coming year, 12 months, with more champions. That's our goal. Now we have the package. We know how it works. We want to recruit as many champions as possible and support them and coach them, give them everything they need to promote the bin in their building. We're also working with one cultural group. You may recall from previous presentation I made, the tree planting event I held with one cultural group, the Lebanese Canadian community in Ottawa, and I'm very happy to share that they're very interested in supporting the green bin as well. And we have now at least 3 people who are working either with the property manager or the owner of the building to promote the green bin in their building. This is also a call to you. If you could help, any of you, if you could help recruit, all they need is one champion for the building. And of course, they would still need to recruit other people from the building to work with them. But you do need that leadership, that champion who will take it on and work with it. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share, and hopefully you will have some suggestions on how to make the championing the green bin more exciting, more successful to many more people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ida. Are there any questions from the audience? Duncan, go ahead.
Super presentation. Thank you, Ada. I wasn't aware that you were doing this, so I'm thrilled that I know it's a huge amount of effort, and I think what I know about Toronto Environmental Alliance that's done a lot of work in this area. What you're describing is exactly what needs to happen. You need a champion, and you need a cooperation with building superintendents and board of directors and tenants associations, etc. So congratulations. Can you tell me, do you have any insights on the status of the city's commitment to roll out green bins to multi-residential buildings? Because up until a year ago, the city was not, as of right, providing green bin service to multi-residential properties at all. And it did decide last year to do that. They had always provided bins and supported buildings if in fact they showed some interest, but they weren't aggressively rolling it out. And they've been given that marching order. One of the issues that Waste Watch Ottawa is watching is to make sure that there's enough budget and commitment in order to do that, because the failings of the green bin are one of the reasons we have a bit of a landfill and a climate change challenge ahead of us here, because the city's audits show that half of what goes into the garbage right now is either recyclable or green bin, and most of that's green bin material.
Yes.
So we need to work on that. So can you tell me anything you know about what the status of the city's rollout to multi-residential properties is?
Certainly. In April of 2022, they approved a strategy to make it mandatory for new buildings that start to receive collection services by the city of Ottawa. They were required to participate in the green bin. If you were already receiving collection services by the city of Ottawa, you had to sign up. You were given the opportunity to sign up until the end of 2022 voluntarily. So that's how they framed it. This is how they released it. I was under the impression back in the summer, around June, that it was going to become mandatory for all buildings to join by the end of by summer of this year, summer of 2023. But that's not the case. I don't know what happened. The position today is that buildings will have the freedom, will be invited to join voluntarily. I'm not aware of any policy or bylaw to make it mandatory. But this could change. The latest I heard, the very latest, just last week, is that this is medium to long-term project, and they will let buildings join the program voluntarily. That's the latest. So we'll see if this change. I could swear I saw. I was under the impression that they will have until June 2023. Wasn't it your understanding?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think the terms of the resolution by the committee and council was that as a condition of receiving city's garbage, waste collection, that you must in fact have a green bin program. So I'm surprised that they're now talking about older buildings being voluntary, because that's not, I don't think, the intention of the city's council's resolution. So thank you for this little insight. I mean, I suppose they're arguing they want to roll this out progressively over time. Is that part of the excuse?
Indeed, that's the position now.
Wow.
And I sent. She's off now until the 7th of February. My contact, but I said that was my impression, that that it is becoming mandatory.
Yes. Well, that I think was exactly what the council resolution said. I might tell you what I will do is I will get in touch with my contacts at the city. Nicole Huber-Bienes is who would be somebody that Lucy, I think, ultimately reports to, and just find out what's going on. Because if in fact the city is sliding already on this commitment, that's a big problem. and it needs to be exposed. So, and there will be an opportunity, I think, to discuss some of this at hopefully the Environment and Climate Change Committee meeting on February 21st. I'm not sure what's on the agenda there for waste, but there will likely be something. So I think this is an opportunity. So let me see what I can do from my side to check, but I'm interested to hear what you're saying, because that's not my interpretation of what the city's commitment was.
I'm totally with you.
Okay,
and
all right.
Nicole is the work superior of my council.
Yes. Okay.
So, and you and I will be in touch, and
Let's do that. I mean, it may be that I think the worry about this has always been, are they resourcing this rollout in multi-residential properly? And it sounds like they're not. It sounds like they don't have the staff, they don't have the money, and that becomes a budget issue. And I know it's something Waste Watch Ottawa has flagged that needs to be done to ensure that there is in fact resources put into this rollout, because it's absolutely essential that we do this and work the way you do. It's a slow building by building process. I do understand that, but they need to put resources into it, and it sounds like they're not doing that, which is not good. Okay, thank you, Ada.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your question.
Oh, okay.
But we have to move on. Sorry. Our next speaker is Charlie Scrumina. Charlie works with Greening Sacred Spaces Ottawa chapter, a partner on the Faithfully Green Fund project. Charlie works with faith communities to help determine the needs of for retrofits and providing network support to faith spaces across Ottawa.
Thanks so much. I'm also going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see it.
Sorry, sometimes Canva doesn't like working. So I'm going to give you a quick teaser about the Faithfully Green Fund, which is, as Max said, one of the projects that I run. But stay tuned. At the end of my presentation, I'm going to plug an info session where you can get a fuller presentation on this. And I really hope you can come to that. That's next month. So the Faithfully Green Fund is aiming to raise $1 million in our first year to help faith-building organizations reduce their carbon footprint. So we're going to be operating a revolving loan program, providing loan interest financing to Ottawa faith spaces. So that includes anything from temples, mosques, synagogues, and churches. And we are specifically providing the money to faith spaces who want $10,000 to $250,000 to implement a retrofit project that will help them with greening. We're going to be providing that $1 million for 10 faith building organizations within the first year of launching. And then over the next 10 years, 150 projects at least 100 Ottawa faith communities. So Greening Sacred Spaces, as I mentioned, we are a not-for-profit that works with faith communities to help them reduce their carbon footprint. So we do everything from audits, retrofits, gardening, property revitalization, retrofits. So a whole bunch of different things that all with the purpose of reducing carbon footprint. We've worked with over 400 faith communities of all different faith backgrounds. Recently, we completed an energy benchmarking program. We helped 50 faith communities in the area measure how much energy they were using and take steps to reduce it. We're doing this project in collaboration with the Sustainable Capacity Foundation. So this is a philanthropic foundation that helps small shop environmental organizations, like some of the ones presenting today, with their capacity. So they offer grants, impact investment support, and general capacity assistance through funds. So we started this project because we knew that after many, many years of working with faith communities, the number one issue for them is consistently lack of upfront capital to be able to take on projects. They know that they need to do these green retrofit projects. They have these ideas in place, but they just don't have the money right now to be able to do these projects. And we also know that when they are unable to do these green retrofit projects, they are, it doesn't just impact, the congregants who might be there one day a week on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but also the whole community. It impacts the people who use their spaces as meeting spaces, everything from daycares to Alcoholics Anonymous. We know that an uncomfortable, inefficient building has a huge impact on the whole community, and that when they are able to do these green retrofits, it has a huge positive impact on the neighborhoods at large. So our solution for this is a community bond. So this is a social finance tool. It's very similar to a traditional bond in that they're an interest-bearing loan from an investor. So investor invests, and the person takes it back, pays it back over time. However, what's different here is that it's specifically used by nonprofits as well as charities, co-ops, to finance projects that have a positive impact on society and the environment, like this one. So this is just a little bit of a model of how it works. So investors purchase a Faithfully Green fund bond that goes into the Faithfully Green fund. The bond funds are loaned out to faith communities, and the loans finance green retrofits. The green retrofits save money because of these retrofits. In some cases, they may actually earn money. So in cases of like solar panels, or we've seen recently electric vehicle charging stations where they can actually earn money through these retrofits. And they use that money to pay back the loans with interest over a 5 to 7 year period. The bond investors receive a fixed interest rate over the term of their investment. And by the end of that, the principal is repaid, and investors can choose to reinvest if they would like. And our aims through this are obviously, as I've been talking about, we really hope to provide an opportunity to impact investors to be able to take part in environmentally friendly, community-focused projects, as well as allow faith communities to do their green retrofit projects, which will reduce their emissions, improve their energy efficiency, and also save them money. Beyond this, we also are really focused on creating a model for faith community greening projects that can be replicated across Canada. So Greening Sacred Spaces is one chapter of a larger national network, Faith in the Common Good. And we're really hoping that this model, once it's proven in Ottawa, can be replicated all across the country. And lastly, we really are looking to invest in diverse faith communities. So for us, that means BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, non-Anglophone, non-Christian communities. We know that these communities tend to be the ones that face the most barriers when it comes to being able to do these types of projects. So we're really hoping to help them on their journeys. So that's my little teaser there. You can learn even more about this opportunity. We have an info session coming up on February 24th at 4 p.m. You can sign up or learn more or invest at greeningsacredspaces.ca/bond. If you can't come to that, but you're still really interested, you can also, there's an email address that you can access at that website, and just email us or give us a call, and we'd be happy to set up a one-on-one meeting to discuss this with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to talk to you more about this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Any questions from the audience? Doesn't seem like it, in which case, thank you very much, and we'll be moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Hannah Rockburn from Eco Internships. Hannah Rockburn is the Shared Operations Manager for the Capacity Building Institute and Eco Internships. She graduated from Carleton University with a bachelor's degree in Earth Science and Physical Geography. Since her internship, Hannah has taken on various leadership roles, such as being an intern mentor in 2021 and helping further develop the intern support and training programs for 2022. Hannah, take it away.
Thanks, Mac. So I'm going to share my screen as well. Okay. Right, so welcome everyone. So my kind of table of contents, I'll be talking about eco-internships and our intern support program, a bit of who we are and our history, why you might be interested in hiring interns, and sort of the eligibility requirements to be part of the program, and sort of like a program overview, and then how you can potentially apply for it as well. So that's sort of what I'll be going over today. So to start of who we are at Eco Internships, so we are a nonprofit social enterprise designed to help small shop environmental nonprofit organizations with human resources and staffing needs. So we do this by hiring youth interns and placing them with organizations all across Canada. And our mission is that we want to help build capacity by connecting ENGOs across Canada to different funding opportunities that would allow them to hire youth interns through different wage subsidy grants and other funding. So in 2021, Eco Internships was spun out of the work from Sustainable Eastern Ontario, and we have since expanded the program national in scale to work closely with Canadian environmental nonprofits to address the barriers that are linked to limited capacity and hiring an intern. So our unique approach kind of helps augment the different operations throughout the sector by facilitating wage subsidy grant applications, and to kind of walk you through it step by step. And collectively, along with Green Books, Eco Executive Director, Sustainable Philanthropy, and the Capacity Building Institute, together we make up Sustainable Capacity Solutions, which is a vibrant and growing network of social enterprises that are tailored to the needs of these small shops across Canada. And when I'm referring to small shops, usually it's between like less than 500,000 in annual revenue. So together we are working to deliver these services to everyone across the country. And we do work closely with other networking organizations like SCO. So for the Canadian Environmental Network and Nova Scotia Environmental Network and like Climate Network Lanark. So those different networking organizations across Canada, we work closely with to help staff different organizations and to do support. So why might you be interested in hiring interns? So the primary way that we help is through our comprehensive internship support program. So under this program, organizations that need staffing support for their activities can access paid interns that would work full-time 30 hours a week for a minimum of 26 weeks, so about 6 months, usually between June and December. So as small shop organizations, many of us don't tend to have stable funding that would be able to support and sustain core payroll for a full-time staff member. So by hiring interns, it's a great way to help strengthen your organization's capacity over time, and you'll be able to get more done and run your programs more smoothly. It'll help with your overall organization diversity. So you're going to be bringing in some new ideas, fresh perspectives, and you'll be able to also provide opportunities for youth that are just graduating or coming out of their post-secondary studies to gain experience in the environmental sector. And it will help them develop their leadership and soft skills that they need to succeed in potentially strengthening the nonprofit community as a whole. And this will also create different opportunities that can build workforce development, which in the long term would help lead to more stable and permanent positions for your organization and also for the intern in the future. And so our support program will achieve these goals by fostering the leadership development of these youth through providing training, mentorship, and network building opportunities for them. So a couple of quotes we have from past organizations that are participating. So we have Kathy from Green Learning, and her intern Katie said that she had brought new ideas for the engagement manager role and has been seeking opportunities and delivering different workshops for their organization. And then we have Mitchell Beer from the Energy Mix, and he was saying that they had their first internship in decades back in 2021. And for them, it was really worth it that they were able to have a qualified intern to help with everything. And it allowed them to expand their operations, and we've been working with them since. And I have a little video here that I think it's about 2 minutes or so. And it kind of just shows on the intern's perspective of this program. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. Let me know if the sound doesn't come through, but I thought I would share this with you as well.
Sometimes when people think of sustainability, they think that it's this crazy big thing and you have to be a tree hugger and you have to be all about green, but it goes deeper than that, and it's about kindness and being human.
I went through life not really knowing what I wanted to do, and then I discovered sustainability through my master's degree and realized not enough people are doing anything about this.
Youth across Canada have been brought together through Internships, formerly the Sustainable Eastern Ontario Internships Program, which matches post-secondary graduates or soon to graduate with environmental and sustainability charities and not-for-profits.
This internship opportunity, well, firstly, it means stability to me. So at a wage that is above minimum wage.
The Frontenac Archbiosphere Network has taken on 3 interns, and it's awesome. It's fantastic so far.
I really like it. Why? Because I get to organize something that I know will impact the life of some people, a community. It's not some abstract thing that I'm doing, it's something very concrete, it's very ground level.
The program helps to take out the financial, training, and HR burden off of small organizations in locating and applying to funding and wage subsidies. The intern is placed in a paid internship program through the Capacity Building Institute to support this transition.
The internship training was really eye-opening, like learning about how different boards work.
You know, we've learned about different things such as fundraising, outreach, communications, but even just ways in which you can create a better platform for your organization.
So when you do your internship with the organizations you are placed in, that you have more of an idea where to start and that you're not completely thrown into the deep end.
I feel like it's meant like everything to me, especially coming out of university during COVID, where there was so much employment loss, just to be able to kind of come in and start from the ground running and to help support organizations now.
On my own, I would not have known how to go about finding interns because staffing is a problem with nonprofits.
The internship program started back in 2017, and basically we didn't have enough staffing capacity as small organizations to really do all the work we wanted to do.
I have to say I was a little bit worried taking on 2 students and how much work we would have to do and how much we would put in for how much we got out, but my gosh, within a week or 2 of having those 2 young ladies start working with us, it was just phenomenal. We were just so impressed with their quality.
So if we can help take care of some of the paperwork that's involved, then that's a huge burden off of those organizations. And then if we can support the interns to have a positive experience and help them, that'll also help to make sure it's great all around.
People don't buy the problem, they buy your solution.
Okay. Great. I'll just go back to this. And so as mentioned sort of in the video of the training, we talk a little bit, we send all the interns that are taking part of the program into this mandatory nonprofit training, and the training takes place between July and September of the year, and we kind of cover some different themes. So we talk about sustainability, remote and hybrid work, mental health, self-care, nonprofit essentials, volunteer engagement, leadership, organizational culture, different career developments. So we touch on a variety that maybe your intern might not necessarily be doing fundraising, but it'll definitely help them in terms of building up their skills for future positions as well. Or if they wanted to continue in the nonprofit sector, it'll be important for them to understand grant writing, for example. And this is just a couple of where they are now. So these are some of our interns we've had take part of the program, and they have since now moved on into either the environmental sector or on more leadership roles since. So we have Talil, who is now working. He originally worked with Sustainable Eastern Ontario, but he is now a residential energy auditor. in the sector. And then we also have Victoria, who was an intern at Tucker House, and she is now a habitat program manager at Canadian Wildlife Federation. And then we also have Sabrina, who she just finished the program last year, and now she's working at King on policy, climate policies. So kind of why would you want to apply through us? So we have secured over 150 internships since 2017 and have been working with and supporting over 60 organizations and getting wage subsidy grants, as well as securing and kind of recruiting interns. And this way we find that you'll be able to ensure that not only your interns are supported, but we also help with helping the organization. So we will coach you through the process from start to finish, from hiring an intern, applying for the subsidies, answering and helping out in any way that we can throughout the whole course of the internship. You would also gain access to an online portal that would give you some additional HR resources and different templates you can use, different tutorial videos as well, that you would have access to. And our main goal is just to help reduce a lot of the common barriers that are associated with hiring a full-time staff member, which includes reducing the financial risk of these internships on your organization, which I'll touch on in another couple of slides. And then we just had a couple quotes here as well. So Chris White from the Nova Scotia Environmental Network had said that our team has been helping with staffing since 2021, and that they've experienced the most growth they've seen in over a decade, just over the past couple of years, because they've been a part of this program. And so that's our goal. We want to see everyone grow, and that's what we are here to help with. So this sounds interesting. The different eligibility intern kind of criteria to be a part of the program is that you do need to be an incorporated a non-for-profit organization, but if you're not incorporated, you can partner with an incorporated organization to be able to participate in the program. You would need to have an annual revenue of less than $500,000 for your organization. You have to be located in Canada, and you do need to have an official accounting software to help with pay stubs. So that could be like QuickBooks, Sage, WagePoint. If you're a Greenbooks client, for example, as well, they would be able to set that up for you. So those are the main criteria as an organization to be able to apply for our program. And then as an intern, you cannot be a current employee of the organization that you'd want to intern at. You do need to have some form of a post-secondary degree. In most cases, there is some exceptions to that. You need to be between the ages of 15 and 30, a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or a person granted refugee status in Canada. You need to be available to be able to work at least 6 months consecutively, and preferably not be a previous participant of the YES program of the government, as they usually want, they might not accept you if you've already done one internship. We have had cases where we've been able to get a couple people on 2 or 3 of them, but there is kind of, we will work with you on that if that happens to be the case. And then for every organization, the needs are slightly different depending on what your capacity is. So we'll talk with you to see kind of what level of engagement that you would need in terms of how involved Eco-Internships needs to be to make your program and placement a success. We have Tier 1, which is solely targeted to organizations that are over that 300,000 mark. And in some cases, if you are over 500,000, we usually suggest that you can participate in the program by hosting an intern of an organization that is smaller. So we do have a handful of organizations that are unincorporated, or that they just don't have the capacity to do the full-time staff member on their own. And so we encourage larger organizations to partner with the smaller ones to share an intern. So Tier 1 would be in that instance. Tier 2, that's a little bit more involved, where we have the onboarding and reporting. So you potentially, your organization has some more full-time staff already. You guys might already have an accounting system and bookkeeper in place. So you won't necessarily need us as much for the reporting stuff, but we can still help with recruiting an intern, monitoring any portals that are needed, and reminding you of certain deadlines that are coming up, and just having that employer supports, as well as having the mentorship and training for your intern. And both of those tiers do come with an extra cost above the training amount. And then we have tier 3, which is our most common tier. Most of our clients and participating organizations are kind of at that tier 3 level, where we help you through the process. We're giving you that hand-holding experience, but we're coaching you through it so you're learning how to do it yourself, and we're not doing it completely for you. So usually we say for like people, organizations that have done this in the past, that might have already gone through the progress before or have been with us for more than 3 years or at least 3 years, then we would suggest doing a tier 3. And it's only the training fees. There's no additional cost aside from that. And then with tier 4, that's the full support. So if you are unincorporated or you have no idea what you're doing and never done it before, or you're just working with us, we can do pretty much everything from start to finish and helping with making the applications, applying for on behalf of your organization, and working through the program that way. And that way you have, if you also have very little capacity with your organization, then that would be the tier that you would want to look at. And then usually, as everyone is on mind of financing, how much does this program actually cost, and can our organization afford it? So we do target small shop nonprofits. So we understand that you might not be able to fully support. So we have different programs in place and different financing options in place to make this successful for you. So for the intern, it is required that they have a minimum of $20 an hour for 30 hours a week for the 26 weeks. Now you can offer, depending on your financial capacity, to offer them more dollars an hour or up to 40 hours a week. But the base is the $20 for 30 hours. With that in mind, and keeping that sort of wage under progress, then it usually costs about $20,000 to have the intern for a full 6 months with that wage. There is wage subsidies. They will cover anywhere between 75 and 100% of the wages of the interns. So then your organization would only potentially need to supply about $5,000 to $10,000 for the intern's wage. And then the training costs through the Capacity Building Institute is $6,780, and that's with taxes in. But most organizations, most delivery organizations and subsidies will cover up to $5,000 or more of the training fees. And so it's only an additional about $2,000 or so for the training. Now, we don't want the amount of the training to be what prevents organizations from applying. So there is different opportunities and options to further subsidize the training fees so that your organization can afford, especially if you just don't have that type of money currently. And we will also help you through the different organizations in fundraising and finding different grants that could be helpful to further subsidize these costs. And another option as well is sharing interns, as I mentioned before. So if you're not able to supply the 5,000, let's say, for an intern, you can partner with an organization and split the intern's time, and then you'll be able to reduce the cost that way as well. And then for any organizations in the Ottawa area, we do have a shared office space. So we encourage any interns to come. It's free to be in the office, and it's kind of a first come, first serve to use the hot desks that are available here. But if you wanted to actually book like a board meeting, or if you wanted to actually book a dedicated space for a manager to come in more frequently, then there is some options there at a very minimal cost. For that can range from like $50 to a couple hundred, depending on what you're looking at. And then also other types of financial assistance I mentioned here. There's cash flow loans that are available to help with the upfront payroll, since a lot of these wage subsidies don't give you money until at least 2 to 3 months into the internship. So if that's a concern, we do help with cash flow loans. There's capacity grants on a case-by-case basis, and payroll assistance available. In terms of timeline, usually right now our applications are open for both employers and organized and for interns, and those applications we'll be accepting and doing those over the next couple of months. Usually starting in March, we start with the pre-screening interviews of interns. So Internships does group interviews to kind of see where we can best match interns with organizations. So we start doing that process in March. And then most wage subsidy applications start opening up in that April timeframe. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this and keeping all of the organizations informed of when they open so we can start that process in April. Usually then the start dates tend to be June. So your interns at this point will be hired, you have the wage subsidy secured, and they'll actually start working for your organization in June. We have our live session training for the Capacity Building Institute through July through September. And then in August, we will officially close all employer applications, as usually the last wave of subsidies tend to close around that time, and we wouldn't want any interns starting any later than the beginning of September for our program. And then we'll be working with you through midterm reports and final reports between September and December, or a little later if you're having a longer than a 6-month internship. So if you would like to apply, it's pretty simple. There's 3 main steps. 1, you go to our website, download the employer recruitment package. It goes over everything I talked about today and more detail. And then there is a link to actually submit an application and book up a follow-up meeting on our website. So that would be the second step once you review the package, to actually fill out the form. And then step 3 would be to sign a services agreement with Eco Internships on outlining exactly what tier level you've signed up for, what services it will be providing for you in 2023. And then you're officially good to go, and we'll be helping you start the process with your interns and making sure you're prepared and ready to go to hire an intern for this upcoming season. So you can find that at www.ecointernships.ca. And if you had any other further questions, you can always contact myself. We have Chantal, who's our executive director, and then Miriam Watts, who's also on the call today. She's our green service coordinator, and so she may have seen some emails from her from outreach about this season. And that is all for me.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Any questions from the audience? Okay, in which case we were supposed to have another speaker booked today, but unfortunately they could not make it. So last and final call for anything anyone wants to say, any events anyone wants to promote, any upcoming anything that anyone wants to talk about. Okay, in which case we'll be wrapping it up here. Thank you for joining us, folks. And our next event is February 24th. A advisory presentation, Eco Talent Network, I believe. Thank you very much.